Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2017 Sedona International Film Festival. I'm Tanya June Moore, and we are live. I'm here with James Martinez of Aaron's Blood. I have watched almost all of this movie, and so far I'm really impressed. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay. Well, you're going to be impressed even more if you catch the end of it.
I will.
Because it is awesome. I love it. I love it. No, I was excited about it. I'm excited to be in Sedona. We shot the movie in Sedona. It was my first time in Sedona, and it's absolutely gorgeous out here, and it's a total pleasure to be back.
Great. And you've been here, and you've seen it during the dry times. Now you're seeing it during the rainy times.
It's very rainy and wet, but yet still beautiful. It's awesome. The colors pop a little more with the rain and the water, the moisture. It's beautiful out here. I love it. I'm having a good time.
So how did you get in connection with this film, and how, I mean, because it's not like you're you know, like an independent. I mean, you have done some major things. Yeah. You know, still climbing the ladder, and you still come across these random projects that, you know, you just kind of take a risk. It's a crapshoot, and some things you're like, and other projects you're like, that's interesting. And then this one came along, and I don't get that many indie scripts, and this one came along, and it was like, wow. I just thought it was very unique, and it was a unique take on the whole vampire story, and I just love the whole father-son relationship aspect of it. I have a lot of, you know, I was very close to my father, and I'm not a father myself, which is why I thought it was going to be a wonderful challenge to just kind of dive into that role,
and that mindset of a father, and the urgency of trying to save his son, and I loved it.
So the movie is basically, it's not really a horror film. It's really a father-son film and an illness film, right? Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about that while we were making the film with Tommy and everyone who I talk about the film with is, you know, if the vampire virus is considered a disease, kind of. So, I mean, really it's about a father who's trying to save his sick son. So, and it's an amazing journey. And the take on it is very unique. You know, he's a hemophiliac. He's dealing with bullying, which is a major issue in schools nowadays.
Absolutely.
So it just touches on a lot of things that are very true nowadays, and despite it being a vampire movie. But the vampire aspect is what makes it a lot of fun, too. And I love the horror genre, too. So it does have horror aspects to it, but there's a lot of family values that come into play.
And how was it working with your son as the actor? How was that?
Trevor! He's here. I loved him. It's so funny because he's like at that age where he's growing really quick. And we shot the movie a little while back, and I just saw him. He's a little man now. He was a little boy when I met him. Now he's a little man, and he's great. He's just raw talent, and I got really lucky. You know, when you show up to set and someone's playing someone close to you, it's also another crapshoot because you just don't know if the chemistry is going to be there or not. But he introduced me to his buddies. We played basketball. I came to their house, and, you know, Tommy and Mark and, you know, the whole family has just become so close to me now, and we've been in touch ever since we wrapped the film.
That's great.
Yeah. So I made some good friends in the process. And
that brought you here to the Sedona Film Festival.
Yeah, it did.
And I know you haven't been here very long, but so far, how's the festival treating you?
Well, this is my first
day, right?
My first day, and this interview is the first experience with the festival I'm having today. But I'm looking forward to what's coming up. I'm only here for one day, so I'm really trying to squeeze it as much as I can in this single day in Sedona. Maybe see another one of the films and meet some of the local artists and filmmakers, which is what made the movie even possible in the first place. Right. Just the fact that everyone was so cooperative and was lending their time and space, businesses to make the movie happen. So on behalf of Aaron's Blood, the crew, and everyone involved, I just wanted to say thank you, because I'm proud of this movie, and I'm glad that everyone facilitated everything they did to make it happen.
That's great. So we want to talk a little bit about you and who you are. Yeah, because you're in the seat.
All right. Okay.
You've done some pretty interesting things as an up-and-coming actor. You've had some stints on some Breaking Bad. And some other really positive, popular shows out there. Plus, you run the new One Day at a Time on Netflix.
Yeah. No, Norman Lear rebooted the One Day at a Time, which is
Tell me, like, what's been your favorite so far? Your favorite set to be on, and
that's interesting. My favorite stuff is, which is why I love doing indie movies, is because it's very collaborative. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I actually had a say in some of the writing that Tommy wrote in the movie, which is one of those things that I just don't get to do very often, especially as an up-and-coming actor. You show up to a big set or a big studio, and you just kind of show up and just try to do your job as best you can without getting in the way. But those are the types of jobs that I love and enjoy as an artist, was that element of collaboration. And I think Breaking Bad was one of those rare moments where it was like, wow, here's a mainstream show, but they're asking their actors, what do you think?
Yes.
What's going on? Do you have any input as to your character, the writing, the situation? Do you have any ideas? And that's what makes all this exciting, which is why I started becoming an actor. Right now I'm working on House of Cards, which airs this May, became a series regular on it. I'm so stoked about it. Thank you. And I was so intimidated when I show up, but then you show up to these sets like these, and I think it affects the quality. I think this is why these shows are so good, is because everyone has a little part in it where it just makes the final outcome just
it's
all
a good
that
team
amazing.
effort.
Yeah, it's a good team effort, and everyone has a voice in the process.
So how is it acting out with some of the film greats like Kevin Spacey? And I mean, how is it being around those and learning from these people who have really made it?
I know. I met Kevin 10 years ago when he came to Juilliard. I went there for school for acting, and he came in to do a master class. And I was, so starstruck, and, Kevin Spacey, I mean, his work speaks for itself. But then when you actually work with these people, all that just goes away. These are just artists trying to figure everything out, and we're pretty much on an even playing field once you're in there. Once we're in there. So I got really comfortable, and he's a jokester, he's a prankster, he's hilarious, makes everyone on set feel super comfortable. And I think that made my work all the better. And it comes out in May.
Wonderful.
May 30th premieres, so please stay tuned. And One Day at a Time is streaming on Netflix as well. So.
And is there any actor out there in the world that you really want to work with, or actors?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, I would love. Benicio del Toro is one of my favorites. I mean, even just starting out, I guess I could also relate a lot to his style and his taste in scripts also. I grew up with Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers is just one of my inspirations. Obviously, Gary Oldman. I mean, even Norman Lear was one of my heroes too, growing up. Just to approach sitcoms in that way, and be able to address real issues, but still find the humor in really dark things.
There's a whole group of people that really think Archie Bunker is a hero. So for people to watch you and to follow your career, where can they follow your career? Like social media feeds? Yeah,
social media. I have my James Martinez on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, James Martinez. I have a page where I try to keep everyone up to date as to everything coming up on Facebook. So I have my own little fan page there, and my personal James Martinez, just James Martinez.
We can just look you up.
Yeah,
just Google.
When you're just kind of trying to work your way up, you don't want to make it too difficult for people to find you.
I call that good branding.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I'm learning as I go, so you can find me.
I'm going to open it up to the gallery if they have any questions.
How about working with a fellow Juilliard alumnus on the film?
Michael Chifo, yes. Michael Chifo plays one of the bounty hunters. He's there, and he's looking out for any suspicious activity going on in the local town. I saw Michael. I didn't know he was a Juilliard grad because he was kind of in the early stage. He graduated very early on. So he's like, oh, and then I looked him up. I was like, oh, there you go. And yeah, he lives in L.A. I just started coming out to L.A. and we're hanging out, and we're swapping Juilliard stories. It's a small community. Yeah, it's a small community of Juilliard grads.
And Juilliard is, I mean, think of all the people that have.
But we have little things in common because Michael is hilarious. He is he's also just has an amazing sense of humor, but he's also a consummate professional, when Kevin was the same way, and it's just there is something very similar that we all have, which is we want to really help tell a story in a great way and in a very truthful way, but we also want to have fun in the process, and just make everyone feel comfortable.
Do you feel like this role with Aaron's Blood really is something authentic to your soul? Like, is that what you would be as a parent, you think?
I think so. My father passed about a decade ago, so it was right before I graduated Juilliard. So we were very, very close. I was a lot closer to my dad, actually, than my mom. I love my mom, but my dad and I had a really amazing bond. So I can honestly say that's where I drew from when it came to Aaron's Blood and working with Trevor and just I was trying to see Trevor through my dad's eyes, the way he would look at me. And growing up, looking back, it's different now, and it's very informative, and it's really it was a special bond that I tried to hopefully recreate on film with Trevor in this story.
So far, what I've seen, you've done a really good job.
Okay.
I think you've handled the dad role very
Thank you so
well.
much. I appreciate
I'm
that.
impressed. I would have thought you were a dad. So thank you for that.
I love
beautiful.
that. That's the best compliment I could have had. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like the audience out there in the live feed and any of the foot traffic that we have in Sedona to know?
Well, I was just informed that Tommy has another film in the works, and I had such an amazing time with this film that I was like, I don't really care what it is. I'm probably gonna most likely do it. And then he sent me the new script. I don't know. Do you want me to say anything, Tommy?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's called Room for Rent, and it is another one of these spooky movies, but it's eerie and it's really edge of your seat type of thing. And I was gonna say yes anyway, but I read it, and it's actually also really, really good, and it's very different from Aaron's Blood. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to, ruin the surprise of what's coming up. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope we can make it happen ASAP for sure.
Well, maybe next year or the next couple of years we'll have it in the festival again.
Yes. Aaron's Blood is screening tonight, the 19th of February, and this coming up Friday, 24th.
And then it's available on
video on demand and DVD release, and
later on.
Yeah, this year.
This
right?
summer, yeah.
This summer, yeah, this summer on video on demand. Aaron's Blood. So.
And they can keep up with that online, right?
Yeah,
Just
they can
look
keep
up
up with Aaron's Blood, and we're still waiting to hear on some more distribution and other places where you can catch it.
Awesome,
So.
Wonderful. It's
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Please follow us. We promise you'll enjoy everything coming up, as well as all the new work and exciting work coming from the Stovall family.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us
My
today.
pleasure.
We really appreciate you being here. Look forward to seeing you on the big screen more and more.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you. Thank you for the support, and especially for showing Aaron's Blood and getting us out there and getting people to enjoy this great film.
You're welcome.